So Terraria 1.4.4 has been out for 2 days now, and I've racked up about 30 hours of gameplay. Now, don't worry, I was sent an early build. I haven't done that in 2 days. This video isn't just straight delirium, but I did want to talk about what makes this update so special, because despite the fact we've had many a Terraria update, there is something about this one in particular that actually sets it apart from the rest. Now, to be fully clear, I haven't actually experienced everything in the update so far. For example, I haven't even touched the complete melee rework, which from videos I've seen looks absolutely amazing. But it's very clear to see that this update is so special because it respects the player's time. Now, I actually mean that in more ways than one. Firstly, it respects that you've probably played a lot of Terraria, so it isn't afraid to give you a brand new challenge. And for me, this all begins with that brand new seed, Get Fixed Boy. This seed introduces a new difficulty mode, and it's kind of crazy. Like, if you played on Expert, it becomes Master, and if you play on Master, it becomes Legendary. Now, when 1.4 first dropped, a few of you were disappointed that Master was only a numbers difference from Expert, and of course, you did get relics and you did get pets, but there was no new movement to the bosses. Now, for the Worthy, the secret seed did actually help this a couple days later, but I really feel like this new secret seed actually bumps it into its own class, and it says, hey, you've played a lot of Terraria. Do you want to die? Do you want to experience pain? Well, we have the seed and difficulty for you, and I love it. Now, I've never felt like the Terraria developers have ever held players' hands, but never before have they said, well, what if we took the boss you already know how to fight, we make you fight them underground, because if you go to the surface, it's kind of awful, and then we add in a whole new AI at the end. Like, it's different, but mostly it respects your time by adding in a million different conveniences. And I feel like these are the conveniences that they tended to shy away from in the early days, but now, to me, it seems like they go, hey, you've played a lot of Terraria, we know you need these conveniences, and we feel like you should have them. And it all starts very simply with the brand new auto swing, which is a new setting, and if you haven't turned it on yet, get it turned on because it's a game changer. This one setting could potentially rebalance Terraria, because now, for certain weapons, instead of having your damage be assigned to how fast you can click a mouse, it will auto swing for you. Now, normally messing with balancing like that could scare a developer, but the accessibility that this setting adds is a game changer. For some people, this is the difference between being able to enjoy a little bit of Terraria or hours and hours and hours of Terraria. One of the things I've been reading from you lot at home, and I've also been feeling it myself, is that this update feels a lot like modded Terraria. And you are completely right. For me though, it mostly feels like modded because this update will give you all of those things that mods have been subtly doing in the background. For example, for the player that loved magic storage, okay, we maybe don't have that, but we do have the revamped Void Bag, which essentially gives the player a second inventory. And not only that, items now stack to 9,999, a thing which modders have been doing for years. And also, for those that downloaded mods to mess with the pylon system, now you don't need to, because they've relaxed the pylon system so much that it's no longer a thought process to try and get your NPCs happy enough to sell the pylon. It just seems to work a lot better now. And a small tweak I just love, which we didn't even have mods for before, you can now skip the wait time on the old one's army, respecting your time and saying, hey, you probably don't want to be lingering around for 30 seconds in between waves. Crack on. Enjoy Terraria. But to really explain it, I need to talk spoilers, specifically the brand new liquid which can be found in the update. So I'll give you a second. If you don't already know what it is, head off the video, come back later. All right, let's talk about it. Shimmer is an absolute game changer and the biggest thing to respect your time. Shimmer is bigger than I think anybody actually realizes at this point, because Shimmer reduces so many hours of grinding, which for me has always been my least favorite thing about Terraria. Terraria is a fantastic game, but there are definitely elements where it used to slow down to a crawl because you would need to go to a certain area and grind for a certain thing if you wanted all of the endgame content. Well, Shimmer says you don't have to do that anymore. A very simple explanation of this is if you didn't want to farm for the Nazar, because it could be a bit of a chore to farm for, all you need now is a megaphone, you throw that into the Shimmer, you get the Nazar. And yeah, a little thing like that, maybe it saves you 10 minutes, but if you play a lot of Terraria, those 10 minutes are just going to keep adding up and adding up and adding up, and over the course of 10 years, you're going to save a lot of time. Shimmer actually goes one step further though, and I'm specifically talking about the Rod of Discord with its transformation into the Rod of Harmony. If you haven't seen it yet, this actually removes the debuff that comes with the Rod of Discord. This is such a powerful item, and I love that it respects the player to say, hey, to get this item, you need to beat the Moonlord. You've beaten the Moonlord, you've completed the game, and if you want to move around the world with crazy speed and no penalties, then you deserve to. Never before have we had something like that in vanilla Terraria. Well, kinda, alright? Maybe we did have a Rod of Discord that was already like this, but it was only in the game for 30 days, alright? It doesn't count. Shimmer Water might just be my favorite thing they've ever added to Terraria, because it's a liquid that takes something you didn't want and turns it into something that you might actually need. And they don't restrict this either. You can use it throughout your whole adventure, and as some people have said, the idea behind this is overpowered, or it's too modded, and I argue completely against that. It's a liquid that, when given to people that know how to use it correctly, will save them time. At the end of the day, we all want to play Terraria from beginning to end, but there was absolutely no good reason to grind multiple times just to get the one thing you wanted. If you play Terraria the first or second time, the grind is fun. And it's part of the Terraria experience, that when you've played for thousands of hours, this feature, it's such a breath of fresh air. I know the update's only been out for 2 days, but I think the thing I'll think back on most in the future about this update is the experience of watching the developers interact so much with the community and really take all of their suggestions on board. So many of the small tweaks, which I haven't even spoken about in this video, are a result of people's suggestions and ideas that they've wanted to see for years now. One thing I often find myself saying after an update, and this time it really rings true, if this truly is the final update to Terraria, which who knows at this point, it's a special one. And I'm really glad that it was a labor of love.